Hello guys and welcome back to Sonic Labs, and in this video we'll be taking a look at some of the best free stereo widening plugins out there. So let us begin. So first of all, we have Stereo Width by Blue Lab Audio, and this is a very useful plugin when it comes to converting a very mono sound into stereo. So you can start with a completely mono sound or something which has very less stereo information in it, and you can just simply start by that. It also has 5 display modes, so all of them will show you the signal a bit differently. And here you have the mono to stereo option, so this will basically help you convert a completely mono sound into stereo. Now what this plugin exactly does is it won't introduce any sort of delay in your signals, in your left and right signal. It will just simply widen your sound without introducing any delay. It also has this really useful function of bass focus, so sometimes when you try to widen your sounds, the entire sound is widened, and that is bad when it comes to low frequencies. So if you set the bass focus to a certain low frequency, it has a range up till 200 hertz. So if you set it according to your fundamental bass frequencies, it will focus on those frequencies and not widen them. It will only widen anything other than those frequencies, so that will help you make your sound more mono compatible. You also have this correlation meter which shows you whether your sound is mono compatible or no. The width is simply how much you want your sound to be spreaded within the stereo field, and the pan is just simply panning your sound to the left or right. You also have this option of mono out, so you can compare your sound. So I'll just play it. So right now it will play the stereo sound, and if I on the mono out, as you can see there's only mono signal coming out. And at last you have the output gain knob, so you can balance out your output gain. So let us compare the effect of the plugin with the original sound. Next we have Stereophonia by Max Synths, and this is another unique plugin. The way this plugin approaches on making any sound wider is by separately processing the left and the right signal of the input. So here what you can do is you can pan the specific frequency from your left and right channel into any amount that you want. So you basically have these two knobs which show you the frequency of the left and the right signal. So you can set it on any frequency value, and from here you can just pan that sound. So more to the left would be more panned, and as you go towards the right it would go more to the center, and here is the opposite. Both the sides you can just adjust the frequencies and pan the specific frequency of that sound from both left and right channel. Here you have the input option, so you can input either mono or only stereo sound within the plugin. So it will process either only the mono or the stereo sound, so you can always switch between these two and see which one sounds better. Here we have the dry wet knob, so this would basically help you blend the original signal. And here at the bottom right we simply have a bypass button, so this will just bypass the effect of the plugin and you can compare your original signal with that. Let us see how it sounds with a sample. Before we move on, if you have any questions regarding any of these plugins in the video, you can just put them down in the comment section and I'll respond to each one of them. Next we have the Autopan plugin by Dead Duck Software. So this is an extremely simple plugin to use. It's just an Autopan plugin, so it will modulate the panning of your sound. Now it only has two knobs. The one is the rate, so the rate of the modulation that you want on the panning, And second, you have the width, which will determine how much your sound will be panned to the left or right. So if you put the width at 0, the sound won't be panned at all. And you can just adjust these two knobs to get a desirable sound. Now there's a sync option which will sync your rate of modulation to your tempo. So you can go like half a beat. You also have option for triplets. And then at last you have a simple bypass knob, so it will just bypass the effect of the plugin. Now I would recommend using this plugin in parallel, so you can blend the original sound with the auto pan sound. This way you can retain your original signal in the middle and also have some width to your sound. Now let us compare the original sound with the plugin. Next we have Quick Haas by Ven Audio, and this is another special plugin. Like, it creates a psychoacoustic panning effect on your sound. Now this plugin has a bunch of input options, like you can only input the left plus right, you can just input dual left sound, dual right sound, or you can input only the mono sound. Now I would usually recommend having only the mono sound going into the plugin, or just having the left plus right sound. I wouldn't recommend any of these two because Haas effect deals with delay in the signal of left and right of any signal, and if you input only one of them, like only right, then it might not work really well. It might create some phasing issues and it won't sound pleasant. Now in the middle we simply have the knob which controls the delay time in milliseconds, so it can go all the way up to 19 milliseconds. And the very good thing about this plugin is it allows you to adjust the delay for up to 1/10 of a millisecond, so that's really precise, and most of the times it just works if you set it on 0.2 milliseconds. So that's really enough for any sound. But if you want it to be more wide, if you want the Haas effect to be more prominent, you can just always mess around with it, and you can always try putting it on different sides, which is either left or right, and you can do what suits best for your sound. Now let us see how it sounds on a sample. Up next we have Nice and Wide by White Label, and this is a very special plugin. It is based on the vintage 90s stereo enhancement manipulators. So it is an emulation of an analog gear that used to be used in the 90s. As you open up the plugin, you can see there are these 7 options here, and you can just activate each one of them, and each one will have a different effect on the sound. So you can just activate all of them or as many as you like on your sound. Now each one of them will have a complex process behind them, which includes binaural cue generators, early reflection simulators, and there are some subtle EQ tweaks for mid-side EQing. So this will basically give you a very unique sound with each mode, and you can also activate all of them at a time, so you can just try out different modes for different sounds. Now it comes with 8 presets already, so you can just see at the bottom right corner it shows the name of the preset. So by default it will be set on subtle. You can just switch between presets, and each preset, each mode will just simply change how the plugin works and change the entire sound. Now you can switch between modes through this mode plus or mode minus button. Here you have the amount knob, so this will basically determine the mix of the plugin on your signal, so it will blend your original signal with the effect. Here you have monitoring system, like you can just switch between LR and MS for this metering section. You can also make it to solo the mono sound, so you can only output the mono signal from it. At last we have the defeat knob, so this is basically a bypass button, so it will take off the effect of the plugin on your sound, so you can compare your original sound with the effect. Now let us see how it sounds with our sample. So that is it for this video, guys. If you had some value from this video, then please consider subscribing to the channel and like the video if you liked it. Put down any questions that you have in the comment section, and as I said, I'll respond to each one of them, and I'll see you in the next.